So Dr. Lamb says two things. One thing is you will feel awkward for 4 months, for 16 weeks, for your whole entire first series of classes, you will just feel awkward. And then the second thing he says is there's no perfect Tai Chi. And so to me, that gives you that deep breath and that forgiveness that you're not supposed to do it perfectly. You're not supposed to feel, just great about everything that you're doing. I have been teaching, well, I have been doing and teaching Tai Chi since 2012. So I'm really not good at math, but I think that's 13 years.
Yes. Mhm.
And I go through and I still make mistakes. So even that many years later, as many times as I do Tai Chi in a week, because I teach 5 classes. So
Wow.
as many times as I do Tai Chi in a week, I still don't get it right all the time. So I hope that gives you some relief. That's like, I'm not supposed to just get this right away.
Okay.
And then you have the reality that some people are just more coordinated than others. For instance, my daughter is a dancer, and she takes dance at a studio here in Baxley, and you know what TikTok is, where they do these little dances, and it
Yeah.
might last for 30 seconds, but it's this little whatever dance to a certain little song. That girl will watch it one time and then know how to do it.
Okay.
And then she'll say to me, "You want to do this TikTok video with me?" And I'll go, "Sure. You just got to teach it to me." And then, we're an hour later and I'm like, still not quite getting it. So you just have some people that just naturally get things, and that's just the way it is. But I'm
Right.
here to guide you through it, and we'll keep trudging forward. If I ever need to, go over anything specific, let me know. I'm happy to review it or say it in a different way or do it from a different angle because I think virtual learning is difficult. So you just let me know. Don't feel like you're
Thank
interrupting. Just jump in and say, "Hey, I don't have a clue what you're talking about," or "Hey, can you go, can you turn around and do that?" Whatever may be helpful to you.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I have kind of pushed y'all through the I'm gonna get some hand lotion for a second. My hands are really dry. The I have pushed y'all through basic six. I have pushed y'all through even the warm-ups. I have pushed y'all through. We are on week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 6th week. So we've only been doing this class 6 times. And the first week is kind of a question mark. Like, does it really kind of count? Because I talk a whole lot about principles, benefits, what to expect from the class. So we didn't even start doing it really right away. So we're really new at this, and I've pushed a lot of information on y'all in that time. So all that said, the way we get better at it is to practice it. Sometimes practicing is watching and thinking about it. So you don't necessarily have to be doing it to practice. I know when I very first started, and I'm just going to walk and open, close my hands while I'm talking, but when I very first uh, learned my movements and I was trying to get better at them, some of my best practice was laying in bed at night, closing my eyes, and just thinking about the movements, thinking about what they looked like as I went through those basic six. And that was so helpful to me. And I wasn't even doing it, I wasn't physically doing it, it was just in my mind. So that is a way to practice, and don't discount that because that I really feel like that's how I got better at it. It's just by thinking it and getting it through my head. lots of ways to practice. There's all those videos broken down by part with the warm-ups and with the Tai Chi series of movements. So here we go. We've got our bodies nice and warmed up, and we are going to get in our stable stance where our feet are about shoulder width apart, our hip width, whatever feels most stable and comfortable for you. It's different for everybody. I tend to like mine a little wider, but as long as they're not real, right beside each other or a really wide base. We want to be in a stable stance, good posture, a soft bend in our knee. And as far as our posture goes, it's like a string that pulls up and down at the same time. And then we're conscious of not holding any tension in our shoulders. And this is how we try to hold our bodies all the time, where it's supportive of our spine and our weight is directly over our hips, knees, and ankles in that line, not putting any pressure on our joints. So let's start with our warm-ups for our neck. Bringing our hands up, palms down, turn and pulling them toward our chin and chest. Turn our hands and push them away. And even when we push them away, we keep that soft bend. We don't lock our joints. We push them away, and then we follow those hands all the way down, chin to chest. So that's the magic in that moment, or in that movement, was when we put our chin towards our chest, that's when you feel a stretch in the back of your neck. So it's this movement right here that warms up that neck. The hands make it Tai Chi. So we're coming up, and when I say the words pull, when I say pull, I suddenly engage muscle that I don't have to use to bring my hands towards my chin and chest. So if I say bring my hands to my chin and chest, that's fine. That's correct. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. But if I say pull and I engage those muscles, then that's adding gentle resistance to the movements and engaging muscle. And anytime we engage muscle, we're getting it stronger. We're working that out. So the same thing goes when we turn our hands and I say push. So if I say extend your hands out, that's fine. That's the movement. But when I say push, then that's using gentle resistance. That's one of our principles under movement control. So both are right, but I intentionally use words that encourage gentle resistance. And then, like I said, as we come down, that's the magic of that movement, is chin to your chest. But the whole movement is up, towards, push, follow those hands down. So the hands are really Tai Chi in nature. So our next neck movement starts out that same way, and when we get here, we drop one hand to our hip. This hand, now I want you to notice that my hand, where my hand is, where it's not is here. If I were to cover my face or cover my eyes, then I couldn't see, period. I couldn't see, period. And remember that Tai Chi is a martial art. It's the slowest fight we're never going to have, but in a fight, we got to be able to see. We got to know who's coming at us and who we're dealing with. So all of our movements, but this one particular, when we come towards our chin and chest, that's why I say chin and chest, because you're not going to be here. You're not going to be here because you're covering your eyes. So keep that in mind with all of our movements. We never cover our eyes. Not only that, once I come up, I start putting tension in my shoulders. So that's why whenever I come up, I stop at shoulder height. I'm not adding tension to that joint. And you can feel the difference between here and here. You feel tension here, but you don't feel it here. So there's, a couple reasons why when we come up, we only go that high, turn, don't cover our eyes, our chin and chest. On that second neck movement, this hand is down by our hip. Now remember, this hand is engaged, or this arm is engaged. So when I brought that arm or that hand down, I didn't just let it flop around. I kept it engaged in the movement. This hand's on top. We're going to follow this hand as we move our head to the side. So this is a neck exercise. It's a neck warm-up, right? So I'm only turning my head. My body is staying forward. I feel that slight stretch. This shoulder right here, I'm slightly pulling it back. I don't have to do that, but that right there makes that stretch just a little bit more. Then I come back to center and I switch my hands. So now this one's engaged and I follow this hand to the side. Now I can go further. I can turn my head a little bit further, but I don't have to go as far as I can go. I just go until I feel a slight stretch, then come back to center. Switch my hands. Go to the side, back to center. So maybe by that third time that you go to the side, you may go a little bit further than you did the first time. So this is all about, yes, warming up our neck, but in the end, helps us with mobility of our neck. Helps us with that flexibility of that joint. Think about when you're driving. All right, I'm driving and I need to switch lanes. Well, what do I have to do? I have to look. I have to make sure it's safe for me to switch lanes. All right, I'm parked. I need to get out of my parking spot. What do I have to do? Turn around and make sure that nobody is back there. So mobility of our neck has an everyday living activity, everyday, what, ADL, daily living, anyway, who cares what it stands for?
Activities daily living.
Yeah, that. Thank you, Sharita. I knew it was an acronym for something that says things we do every day. And we want to do it safely. We don't want to rely always on that camera. We don't even want to always rely on those mirrors. To be able to have that neck flexibility is gold. Those days when we wake up and we have a crick in our neck or whatever that one's called, whoa, you don't realize how often you turn your neck until you can't. And it's a safety thing. And movements like this help you with activities of daily living. There you go. Shoulders. So we have our hands to our side. We're going to roll those shoulders forward slowly, small circles. Think size of a quarter. And back. That's the one that feels like the massage you give yourself. Always thinking small, but I'm always bigger than a quarter. All right, big shoulder circles. Up, turn, and down. And here's another one of those shoulder height things. See, I'm here, and yes, my hands are above my shoulders, but I'm turning and bringing them down. So my shoulders aren't up. I stop here, turn my hands, and push down. It's not quite that robotic. It's a little more smooth than that. But that is in the beginning with our shoulder warm up, and it's also at the very end. It's a great one to practice breath, inhale and exhale. Seated or standing, inhale and exhale. And also to use words of affirmation. So whenever you inhale, you breathe in calm. When you exhale stress, or you breathe out stress. And you can enter any words that, speak to you personally, where you want to gather good and get rid of bad. So whatever it is you're, personally dealing with, gather and let go. It's kind of the positive and negative. And that movement is just why Tai Chi is meditation in motion or movement. Meditation in motion. Easy one right there. All right, for our spine, we have our ball. We're going to stretch our spine vertically by separating our hands. One hand pushes down. Remember, we keep that soft bend in our elbow. The other one comes up and pushes while we push up and down at the same time. You should feel that stretch down your back. Feel it in my shoulders, my shoulder blades. And if you can't reach and put that hand above your head, maybe you can't reach over that far, wherever you can, even if it's over to the side, push up. Separate, stretching that spine. I like to inhale as I come to my ball and exhale as I separate. Feel like I get a deeper stretch when I do that. Now let's take our ball side to side. So again, we're just moving this torso. We're isolating this movement because it's for our spine. Our hips and our knees stay forward. This is that movement of waving hands in clouds. So this movement gets us in that spinal warm up. So we're going from the center, short trip, just above that knee. We stop and turn our hands and come back across. So can I go further? Yes, I can physically go way back here, but we're not trying to totally twist our spine. We could hurt ourselves. We could hurt our knee if we start keeping our hips and knees forward and try to twist too far. You can feel that knee screaming at you. So short trip. Switch our hands, come back across. And don't be in a hurry to get to the next thing whenever you're doing your Tai Chi. Pause when you get above that knee, and then take your time with the switch. Then start moving. Take your time with the switch, then start moving. It's one of these beautiful lessons of Tai Chi is slow down. And it's so hard for us to do because we live in a world that's always in a hurry. And we're so accustomed to go, 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 that it's hard to slow down. But take your time with the switch, then start going. So don't just start moving and, Don't get in a hurry. Switch, then turn. Switch, and then turn. All right, we're to our lower body. So let's work on our hips. We're going to shift our weight to one leg. We're going to place our heel forward and our hands go back, keeping our upright posture as we go through this movement. Notice this foot is at an angle when it's back. It's not straight back. That would be like standing with your feet side by side. Yeah. The counterbalance thing messes with your brain. When your hands are forward and your foot is back, your brain is like fighting it, telling you it's wrong, but it's working your brain, and that's the great thing about it. Shift to the other leg. Heel forward, hands back, pause, and toe. Now, you don't have to pause. I just like it. I like to give that little rest because that one leg is just holding our weight that whole time. It sometimes needs a little bit of a break. So we're not shifting any weight, but I gave it a little on that rest before I move it to the back. When we start getting to these lower body, we are practicing weight on one leg. All right, side to side, shift and lift and tap. Switch, shift, lift and tap. Notice my hands stop at my frame. Can I go further? Yeah, but when I go further, I start leaning, and leaning is falling, or leaning is going towards falling. And that goes against what we're trying to do here. We'll keep that upright posture, staying in our frame. Shift the weight, lift and tap. Shift the weight, lift and tap. I hadn't really thought about this before, but this movement right here gets us ready for waving hands and clouds. Because what do we do in waving hands and clouds? We shift our weight and then we step. So in this movement, we shift our weight and then we tap that toe out and bring it back. But by all means, we could step, then shift our weight. So this is preparing us for shifting weight to one leg, holding weight on one leg, and moving that other. So shift, lift, and tap. Reminding you to breathe in case you're holding your breath as you do these challenging movements. Loose fist down by our hips. No tension in our shoulder. Let's do our movements for our knees. Again, weight shift, lift, and tap out front with a punch of your opposite hand. Soft bend. Bring it back, shift, lift, tap, and punch. Take your time with the weight shift. Think how strong that one leg is, holding your weight while you do these things with the other leg in your hand or arm. Well, both. It's all connected. Or it should be connected. Hopefully it won't just fly off in the middle of a punch. If it does fly off in the middle of the punch, that's why I like to have your paperwork so I can know who to call, where to tell the ambulance to go. Sharita.
Oh my.
Sharita says she never knows what I'm going to say, and I told her I don't know either. All right, now we're going to shift and step. Small step forward. Let me go to the side. Show you how just small of a step it is. We're going to keep both feet flat on the floor. Shift weight to that front leg as I punch out. Bring it back, side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch. Bring it back, side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch. Notice I'm keeping an upright posture. As I shift forward and as I come back. All right, for our ankles, we don't have any hand movement, so I just hold them out in front of me. I shift the weight to one leg and heel toe. Again, mobility and flexibility of our joint. Back, shift, heel toe. Bring it back, shift weight. Now, big toe, little toe. And little toe, big toe. So I slowed down our warm-up today. Once we learn it, we go through it faster, but it's always good to go back and just talk more about the movements, why we do the movements, and how to get the most out of them. Any questions about our warm-ups from head to toe? All right. Basic 6, beginning with commencement. Now, remember, commencement is a step forward, led with our left foot. So we shift the weight to our right foot. We empty step. We place that left foot out there. We shift left, and then we bring the right foot forward. Our hand work is a little more complicated, but it starts at our side. We bring it up. Our hands face each other the whole time. We bring them up and they're out away from our body. We don't go any higher than our shoulders. We bring those hands down. Bring them in towards our hips. They come up our bodies like an elevator. They push out away from our bodies and come back in. Our fingers point up for our second move. Open and close. Now, it was brought to my attention yesterday in my, it's turned into an advanced class on Mondays about a wrist movement. And I don't typically teach that in the beginning class, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to it. But there's an opportunity to move this wrist. Now, this wrist is a joint. This wrist is a place that people get arthritis. And so that's what one thing that we address with Tai Chi is the joints, trying to keep ourselves from having pain from arthritis. So we want to use that joint. How can we incorporate our wrist? Well, when we come up, our fingers are more pointed down. When we go down, our fingers are more pointed up. So there's a flick of that wrist. Up, down. See, just that slight movement of the wrist. Here our fingers are pointed out. We bring them in and then we turn our wrist up and that gets us ready for open and close. So there's some opportunity you can go ahead and incorporate wrist movement. it's not wrong if you want to just keep your hands more straight. There's lots of ways to kind of modify our movements, simplify them, or complicate them. And so I'll introduce you to different things. So we bring our hands up, down, in, up, out, and back in. And that gets us ready for our open and close. We let Gwen in. So you feel that wrist movement. Remember Dr. Lamb's narrative about the ball? If that can help you with this movement of, oh, look at my pretty ball. Oh, isn't it so beautiful? Don't you want to play with it? No, they don't. So you bring it back. You want to give them one more chance. So you get, oh, isn't it so pretty? Oh, don't you love it? It would be so much fun. No, they don't want your ball. So you bring it back to yourself. So you're showing off your ball. They don't want it. Bring it back. You think you give them one more chance. Put that ball out there. They still don't want it. Forget it. You'll keep it. Also, another way people remember that move is the U. Because it's easy to do this, to make that shortcut of coming up and then coming straight to our hips at an angle versus up, down, in, up. So it is more of a curved move, but when we first learn it, it's more sharp. So we do kind of have a corner to it where we go up, down, in, up, out, in. You know, that's more of the nature of learning when we start it so sharp, but we try to curve out. I talked last week about it kind of being like whittling wood, how you the corners off here as we go through these moves, out and in. So our goal is to put our feet and our hands together, right? So we bring our hands up, nothing's happening with our feet. When we bring those hands down, oops, sorry, I shifted to the wrong foot. Shift weight to my right foot, up, down. So you see the shift down to that right foot and the hands coming down go together. So when you practice, it's a feeling of up and down with that weight shift. So when you practice that first part of the move, just really feel how the hands are down and the weight shifts at the same time. When you bring those hands down all the way to shifted, that's when you place that left foot forward. Bring those hands in and up. Now we're ready to shift to that left foot. Pushing those hands out at the same time you're shifting weight. Now, that was several things that happened once we shifted the weight. Even when we placed that left foot out, there's no weight on it yet. So that meant my weight was on my right leg even longer. That's what we're doing in Tai Chi. We are keeping weight on one leg longer, using those muscles, working those muscles, making them hold us. That's how they get stronger and they're more stable. So they keep us from falling when we're using both legs. But by utilizing one leg, holding our weight, it really challenges that muscle to be stabilizer. Because we do things so slowly, then weight is on one leg longer because we're moving slow. So keep that in mind. We're here, shift. So weight is on that right leg. We're step. We're still on that right leg. In, up, it's still on that right leg. Now we're ready to give it to the left leg. Placing our hands out as we shift the weight. right foot forward. We don't immediately give that right foot weight. We're keeping it on that left foot. When we bring those hands back, that's when we even the weight out. So now we end commencement with weight on both legs. All right, from the top, commencement. Up, down, shift right. Place left, hands in, up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back. You saw my body go from over top of this leg. Whenever I pulled my hands back, watch my body. Here. It's because I evened out the weight. So my body went from above this leg, all the weight's on this leg. When I evened it out, now my body goes over top of both legs. That slight movement you may not have noticed before. Does somebody have a question? Okay. Mark and Miss Gwen on the road. All right, so again, commence, up, down, place, in, up, shift, open, close. So after experiencing that movement for several weeks now, going back to it and breaking it back down, it clicks differently. Open, commencement, open and close. Now we're ready for our single whip. Weight shifting, shift left, step right. Notice when we stepped, and remember, it's always empty first and then the weight shift, or I'll call it adjust weight. So even it out, adjust the weight. Now we have weight on both feet. So it's shift left, step right, and you see it's at an angle. My body naturally turned at the same angle as my foot. Adjust weight. Now my hands are ready to push out, turn, and separate. My eyes are going to follow my left hand opposite of the foot that stepped out, but both hands continue to separate. So just because my eyes were only following my left hand, I didn't forget about my right hand. I continued to move it out. That's the makes a big difference in the stretch that you feel across this chest. So when I just move one hand, okay, I feel a little stretch in my shoulder. I feel a little stretch in my neck because my head is turning. But when I remember to move my right hand, wow, I felt it all across that chest. So that's what we're going for. As much mobility, stretch that we can get from a movement. So there it is. Open and close, single whip, shift left, step right, adjust weight, push, turn, separate, eyes follow that left hand. And notice when I got all the way separated, I kind of put a period on the end of that movement. Watch my elbows. I just kind of sunk down like period. I am done, period. And then that prepares us for our next move of waving hands and clouds. So single whip, dun, dun, dun. My eyes are looking at this left hand like, you just stay right there, ma'am. I'm going to shift left, and my right foot and right hand are going to come back and down. And now that's that transition move to waving hands and clouds. Waving hands and clouds, here's our movements. We do two things with our feet. We do a step and a switch. Step and a switch. step and switch. No, step and shift, sorry. Step and shift are our feet movement of waving hands and clouds. And switch and turn are our upper body, our arm and upper body movements. These are waving hands and clouds. So we came back, we're on that transition movement. Now we're ready to go through our four words. Step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift. So when I was first learning waving hands and clouds, this is exactly what I did. One word at a time, one move at a time, I went through the motions. I didn't worry about how many I did. I just went until I couldn't go anymore, practicing the rhythm of the movement. There are 6 steps, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 steps, and then you come back to open and close. So there are 6 steps. Another thing to remember, or that can help you remember, is when I step right, I will turn to the right. When I step left, I turn to the left. So that's the rhythm of the movement. Step right, turn right. Step left, turn left. Step right, turn right. Step left, turn left. So there's a rhythm. Right, right, left, left. Love the 4-word method to just go through. And then you start smoothing out those corners. So you start doing step and switch at the same time. Turn, shift, step and switch. It's a little more smooth now. And it takes time and practice. You got to know the pieces and parts before you can smooth it out. Come to the end after that 6th step, open and close. Now we're waving hands and cloud, or single whip and waving hands and clouds to the left. We shift right, step left, adjust weight. Push, turn, separate. Eyes follow that right hand. Shift right, bring that left foot, left hand back, waving hands and clouds. Step, switch, turn, shift, 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 step, switch, turn. Come back to center for open and close. And close it out. So there's a good breakdown of our basic 6 movements. Let's go through them all from the top and commence. up, down, shift right. Place left, hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out, right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Single whip, shift left, step right, adjust weight. Push, turn, separate, eyes follow that left hand. Shift left, bring that right foot, right hand back, waving hands in clouds. Step, switch, turn, shift, 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 step, switch, turn, and to the middle for open, close, single whip, shift right, step left, adjust weight. Push, turn, separate, eyes follow that right hand. Shift right, bring that left foot, left hand back, waving hands in clouds. Step, switch, turn, shift, 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 step, switch, turn, and to the middle for open, close, and close it out. Again, I won't talk you through it this time. We'll just go through, I'll say the names of the moves. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close, and close it out. How was that?
Good.
All right, this time we're going to do it. I think we have time to do it at least one more time. This time when we do it, I just want you to think about being slow. I felt myself being a little fast, and so I want to think slow. So here we go. We're thinking slow as we go through these movements. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Oh yeah, feel that slow down. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. And open, close. Close it out. Slowing down just felt nicer. You know how in the warm-ups I said, take your time with the transition and then go across. Take the time for the transition, then go across. And so that's the same with that waving hands in clouds. Transition, then go across. Take your time with the transition, then go across. So don't get in a hurry to just keep waving hands in clouds. Shift, take the time with the transition. Take the time with the transition. Slow it down. All right, any questions about our basic 6? We will keep practicing that basic 6. And if you want to jump in and try out brush knee next week, I'm game for that. But if we want to live with basic 6 for a little bit and just get more and more comfortable with it, I'm game with that too. I never get bored of our basic 6. Like in itself, you think the words basic 6, you think, oh, that's the easy stuff. Let's, challenge me, get me the advanced. That's kids' work. But when we dive into those basic 6 movements using our principles, we get this deeper understanding and experience of the movements. We don't just know it, we experience it. So that's where we want to be, even if we stay in the basic 6 for a little bit. It's not anything to get bored with. There's lots we can do just there. All right, let's give ourselves a fist massage. Was it last week I said I couldn't lift my knees high because my pants didn't have any stretch? This week I got stretch, so we Gucci this week. Good old fist massage. Our legs worked so hard, y'all, holding our weight on one leg. You just don't realize how difficult that is, how challenging it is. Our legs really are working hard for us. All right, gather tension. Feel that tension. Y'all, let's don't live that way. Let's let it go. Let go of tension so it doesn't cause us pain. Tense up and then let it go. We'll be tensed up our jaws, our neck and shoulders, and wonder why we have a headache. Recognize tension and what it feels like, and then let it go. And let it go again. You might have some left over. One more time. Tense and relax. Big shoulder circle. Breath. Inhale and exhale. And we make a fist with our right hand. That represents our strengths. Our left fingers together represents our friendship, our thumb in our humility. We put those together in mutual respect. We say, namaste.
Okay.
Very good. I love it. I love every opportunity I get to come with y'all and practice Tai Chi. Got anything for me?
I got my manicure set. Thank you so very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, or receive that. Thank you very much. That was so thoughtful of you.
You're welcome.
Yes, yes.
I like to share things that are useful.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that y'all got that. Mr. Hazels is going to turn his in today. He's going to not procrastinate anymore. He's going to change his name back to Hazels. But anyway, I hope y'all have a great week.
All
And
right.
I hope that y'all feel loved because you sure are.
We do. See you on Friday, Jennifer.
All right. Love
All
y'all.
right. Love y'all.
Okay.
All right,
Have a
bye-bye.
great day. Nice week.
You too. Bye-bye.